be in December 2021. But yes, a big question. There is this case of Deontay Wilder, and probably they might go to court for Tyson to give him his third fight, and that's in the contract. And then again, there's another case of the WBO managing challenger Alexander Usyk to challenge Joshua. Now, can they put aside these two guys for the time being and have these two great boxers, talking about Tyson Fury and AJ, go at it? Let's see what will happen at the end of the day in 2021, or with this Madrid challenger, talking about Deontay Wilder for the WBC, and as well as the WBO challenger, talking about Alexander Usyk. Will they be able to hold on for 1 year? Let's see if we can have a unification. For Pogba, the story somehow is kind of not too fantastic. He started for Manchester United over the weekend, and I think it was a fair on the field of play for him. And I mean, the last two games prior to the Manchester derby got a discussion. But what we're getting now, that Paul is unlikely to leave United in January. Remember, he gets to leave for free in 2022. So let's see how they will battle and keep or sell Paul Pogba. These and many more we'll be talking about on the show this morning. Remember, it is Sport Fiesta, reaching live on 92.7 KUFM down here in Benin City. And the sports bell is connected. Son of Francis, Yibakadabra Sports Alihu Ibrahim is in the building as well. As I go, we can sports match. And together we're going to take it around the world of sport and entertain you in as much as we are updating you with the stories going around right now as sports is concerned. Guys, good morning. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about this fight, AJ as well as Tyson Fury. What we heard late last night from Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Anthony Joshua, he said talks are going very well and negotiations obviously will soon be over. But the comma I made mention of Deontay Wilder, his match, his third fight against Tyson Fury, and AJ also having a managing challenger from the WBO. Are we ever going to have that boxer that can really unify the divisions, the WBO, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the IBU as well?
Yeah, it's something we are going to be having, but if not for the two challengers right now who will be facing Joshua and Tyson Fury, it could have been, the way it could have been free for the match that we all have been anticipating, we've been expecting, so that we'll have one person holding up for best. But notwithstanding, from what I've seen of Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder, even if they get to fight 5 times, Tyson Fury will still beat Deontay Wilder. So it all depends if Tyson Fury will want to honor that contract by fighting Deontay Wilder for the 3rd time, or if there's a way they can do without that fight. I know Deontay Wilder will want to fight Tyson Fury for the 3rd time, but we saw what happened in the first fight. In the second fight, we saw what happened. So fighting him for the 3rd time, I don't know why Tyson Fury even had to agree that fight, with Deontay Wilder in the first place. Because sometimes once you are set to have a rematch, and at the end of the day you start saying, I don't feel like having that rematch, it's like you are not a man of your words, and it could backfires. And right now, Deontay Wilder has every right to sue Tyson for that and all that. But let's see how things will pan out. And for the WBO, where Alexander Usyk chooses a mandatory challenger, is big and is somebody who can also do very well in the top division. So it's now left for the WBO to see if they can also put that aside and for Usyk to wait. If that is not possible, I feel that Anthony Joshua could also go into the ring with Alexander Usyk and continue to do what he knows how to do best. This is somebody who has only lost once, and each time he goes into the ring, sometimes you look at his opponent and you feel they are brutal than Joshua, they are bigger, they are this and that. But at the end of the day, you see them really, inside the ring before, being knocked out. So it all depends on how things are going to pan out. But this is what everyone wants to see this next year. But the hurdles, that they have to pass through before having this fight, that's what we are looking at. If there's a way they can, put these guys, on hold first for now, so that we can have this fight. But it all depends on the challengers. Will Alexander Usyk allow Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury without him fighting for the WBO? That's a big question. And with Deontay Wilder also allow Tyson Fury to fight Anthony Joshua without giving him much of a problem because of the trilogy fight? Another big question. But if they can find answers to this, I'm sure the whole world want to see Tyson and Anthony Joshua fight. They sparred before, that was 10 years ago, but sparring is different from fighting. Even when they sparred, Tyson Fury confessed that guy is red hot, is a future prospect, and he will go on to dominate. And right now, 10 years after, we are talking about them going to the ring to fight. So let's see how things will pan out. But it all depends on how the both sides, Deontay Wilder's camp and Usyk camp, if they can wait a bit, then we'll have the big fight next year.
I don't understand why we'll be questioning why there is a third fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. It was in the contract. That's what they all agreed. And if there had not been rematches, that means we would not even have known who will win between the two of them. The first fight was a draw. Many thought that Deontay Wilder won that fight because he had two massive knockdowns, especially in round 12 when Tyson Fury almost did not get up. It was a small miracle that he got up. And Deontay Wilder always, in fact, in heavyweight boxing, there is always a chance that the opponent, no matter how slim his chances are, there's always a chance that he could win, because one punch could just end everything. And Deontay Wilder, right now, you've got to say, is the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world. So even in that fight with Tyson Fury, where Fury dominated from round 1 till round 7, when he eventually threw in the towel, he had those chances with the right hand. So if he had caught Tyson Fury flush, clean a couple of times, he could have won that fight. So there is no guarantee that if they fight again, Tyson Fury is going to win. Yeah, I think Tyson Fury is the superior boxer from what he did. And even when it was looking like it was going to be Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, I was saying, look, I've watched Deontay Wilder fight several times, and I think he relies so much on that ferocious punching power in his right hand. That's basically what he does. He's not a technical boxer, and most of the times he does what in boxing terms is called windmilling. You just throw your hands, anyhow, without really aiming. So he has a chance. And it would not be fair to say because Tyson Fury beat him the way he did in that second fight, then they should cancel the third fight. No. If there had not been a second fight, Tyson Fury today will not be world champion. So he ought to give Deontay Wilder a chance to reclaim the titles. That's what you should do as a gentleman. Once you've agreed on a contract, you have got to follow it through. The only way now that we can have this is if Deontay Wilder decides not to pursue his claim, but he's got a claim, a legitimate claim to the championship, to a championship bout with Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury refuses to give him that because of some of the things that Deontay Wilder has said, he can go to court, and once he goes to court, it will be enforced, and it will be Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury for a third time. So we've got to really look at that. I think the thing now should be how to appeal to Deontay Wilder, maybe to even tell him, okay, they can negotiate and say, okay, we'll give you this amount of money. No need for you to fight Tyson Fury. Wait until whoever wins between Deontay Wilder and between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. That way he can step aside. For Alexander Usyk, I don't think it will be much of a problem. Anthony Joshua has even said, the camp of Anthony Joshua, they've said that they are willing to relinquish the WBO belt. But if you do that, if you relinquish the WBO belt, then you will not be the unified champion anymore. If you relinquish that belt and Alexander Usyk fights someone else, and the winner of that bout becomes the WBO champion, then you go on to fight Tyson Fury. It will mean that you are coming to fight Tyson Fury as the WBA and IBF champion, not the WBO champion. So whoever wins that fight will not be, he will still be holding just 3 belts, not the entire 4. So that person now they will now start negotiating again to see who is now the WBO champion, if it's Usyk or someone else. And then they will start another negotiation to see if they can now still unify the heavyweight division. I think now that Anthony Joshua has the 3 belts, he should not relinquish any. They should do whatever they can not to get him to relinquish. Because if he relinquishes any of those belts, it will be difficult getting whoever will be the champion to come back and
with that at the back of our minds, Ibrahim, is it really possible for you to unify the divisions?
It's possible. It's possible to unify them, but I have my doubts seriously that this fight is going to be this year, especially May that they are banding about.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how well they will distribute the COVID-19 vaccines. So I don't know whether by May it will be okay for everybody, all the fans to come out. Because Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, it's not a fight you want to do with 1,000 fans in the arena. You want that venue to be filled to capacity, 90,000. Yeah. And yeah, there is another possibility that you could have it in the Middle East. But come on, you are having probably the greatest two boxing heavyweight champions in the world. And both of them right now are on top of the world. They hold the 4 belts. And you want to have that fight and you're taking it outside of the United Kingdom. I don't think it's going to be something nice to do. That's assuming that they've not been able to tackle COVID very well in the United Kingdom, and so by May we will not be having a filled arena. But even then, even in the Middle East, they also have some challenges, but let's even assume that they are willing to fill the venue. But before you can have that, I don't think they will have it. Ramadan is coming up April, May. So I don't think they will have that fight before Ramadan. It's likely to be after Ramadan, which will be probably in June. And at that time in the Middle East, well, it's always hot there, but at that time it's extremely hot. That's why we are not even having the World Cup in June in 2022. They are moving it to December, you know. So there are so many obstacles still in place, so many things that could jeopardize this fight. I believe that eventually we are going to have it. We'll have a unified champion, but first they will have to deal with Deontay Wilder. I think he's the biggest obstacle right now, and he is a legitimate obstacle, and so they've got to either appeal to him or find a way to appease him so that he can step aside. Then they've got to look at Alexander Usyk. They've also got to find a way to ask him to step aside. And having done that, now the other big problem, the fans, because I know this, each of the fighters could be earning at least £200 million for that one a night. So it's something that you want the fans to be there, because that's another way of making revenue. Yes, through streaming and everything, they have also been making money, but you still want the fans to come in. So I think they will want to wait until it is physically possible for the fans to be there to fill up the arena, because it's not every day that you get a Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua and then you have all the 4 belts on the line. So because of that, might not be feasible. That's what I'm looking at. But in terms of the negotiations and everything, I think it's going on smoothly. But we've had that before. They've told us, oh, negotiations are on. They've already since agreed a 2-fight deal and everything. But Anthony Joshua, we had him played his voice on a couple of weeks back, and he was even laughing. He said, oh, was it that one that Eddie Hearn and Tyson Fury were doing on the social media, that he's not even aware, he's not seen anything, so he's just laughing about the whole thing. So I don't think we are that close to a battle, although both camps are now talking, so possibly we will have that fight, but I doubt if it's going to be in May 2021.
Alright, if you just join us, this is Sport Fiesta, reaching out from now 2.7 KUFM than here in Benin City. We'll go for this quick commercial break. When we'll come back, we'll talk more on the show.
I mean, they tend to pay money, help people for them hustle, and other bank matter them. My name now, 9PSB.
Everybody listen up, let me tell you something new. Better service than London, don't just sit down there look.
This now to introduce 9 Payment Service Bank, correct bank for you and me. Dial *990# or download the 9PSB app for iOS and Google Play Store. Make you start to the bank. Our bank agent then tanda for your area. With any phone, you fit open account to Kia to pay any kind bill and start to send and receive money instant. 9PSB. Now our bank be that.
Honey?
Yes, dear?
I'm tired of the poor power situation. Every time I stock the fridge, I come back to spoiled food. I think it's about time we go solar.
How?
With Vertical Solar, we can have all our appliances and electronics powered by solar, and they allow us to pay small. We can pay installmentally with as low as 36,000 naira monthly, spread across 12 months.
Tell me more.
I know you like the idea of paying small. Vertical Solar range of products can power all household devices, including air conditioners and water pumps.
What are the benefits of solar power?
We are talking uninterrupted power supply, no monthly electricity bill, no No more spending on generator and no more generator noise.
I see. But how can I locate Vertical Solar?
Head now to 28 Country Home Motel Road off Atip Junction, Sapele Road, Benin City, or Blossom Mall beside Stop to Shop stores, DBS Road, Asaba. Or you can call them on 0816 170 1105 or 0703 623 4843. You can also send them an email on info@verticalsolar.com.ng.
Vertical Solar, your lifetime power partners.
Mama dog, the way to have yourself a nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog tasty range.
Boy, I fried chicken, spread the bread and nice.
Have a yummy Christmas with Mama Dog tasty range.
Ho, ho, ho! Have a deliciously nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog.
Mama Dog, Mama Dog, Mama Dog, Mama Dog, the way to have yourself a nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog tasty range.
Of Christmas, my Maggie can
12 spicy suya, 11 rishi,
10 wraps of my mind, 9 for the road,
8 pizza from Kwabi, 7 pepper soup, 6 sissy snails, 5 fried fish,
4 cocoa bangos, 3 party jollof, 2 giz dodo,
and 4 with a
To season with Maggie. Cook the difference.
Good afternoon, Oga Landlord.
Good afternoon, Sonny.
I beg, I hear say if I want open bank account, I go need NEPA bill, water bill, CFO of this land, and 2 guarantor. So I beg, enter house, help me bring the document, them come, make I go make photocopy.
Sonny, why are you disturbing yourself when you can open a Hope Wallet account with your phone number right now?
I feel open account now.
Of course.
And you sure say not be those ones who are going to need ATM card to activate?
See, Sonny, you can use your phone number for transactions immediately you open a Hope Wallet account from anywhere. No need to go and queue under the canopy at the bank. No need for documents or filling any form. Just dial *569*9# on this your phone now.
*569*9#. Abi? Oga Landlord, they don't send me message. They say, I welcome to Hope PS Bank.
Sonny, you don't get account with that.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Hope, succeed. Hope Bank always.
Thank you so much for staying with us on the show this lovely Tuesday morning sorry. And of course, now we'll move into the segment sponsored by BetPay, and we'll talk football strictly now. Of course, the Premier League games will be played today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. But let's talk about this issue. If you watch the game between Crystal Palace and as well as Tottenham Hotspur and some games played in London, you saw at least 1,000, 2,000 fans being allowed into the stadium. But I can tell you now, for fans in London, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. From Wednesday, which will be tomorrow. So if your team is playing today at home, maybe most likely they get to have fans sharing them to victory tonight. But after tonight, by 1 a.m. or thereabout, a minute after 12, in the early hours of tomorrow morning, they will move to the third tier. That is the high risk situation as far as the coronavirus is concerned, and other part of Southeast in the United Kingdom, especially in England. So for Manchester, for Liverpool, we know that the Merseyside, and of course, that when I say Merseyside, including Everton and as well as Liverpool, the city, and of course Manchester as a city, they can't have fun because of the fast rising cases right there as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And right now, London have joined in. Let me just read a statement coming from the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, who confirmed this in the House of Commons. That is what we refer to here as House of Representatives, while they themselves refer to their Senate as the House of Lords. Now, football, darts, rugby fans are among those who will miss out on watching sports in venues as London and parts of the Southeast will move into Tier 3. That is where it is very critical of coronavirus restrictions from Wednesday. Now, like I told you, Matt Hancock, the Health Secretary, said this on Monday, that London and other parts of the Southeast will move into the highest level of coronavirus restrictions from 1 a.m. thereabouts on Wednesday due to a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases in London, in Kent, parts of Sussex, and as well as Hertfordshire. Now, up to 2,000 fans were allowed into football matches for the first time since March, when London was initially placed in Tier 2 a fortnight ago following the second lockdown. Now, Premier League fixtures in London on Wednesday, including Arsenal versus Southampton, Fulham versus Brighton and Hove Albion, Western United versus Crystal Palace. We are all due to permit limited amount of fans in, but will not be played behind closed doors. Arsenal confirmed no fans will be attending. They said that we are disappointed to confirm that we are no longer able to welcome fans to the Emirates Stadium for our Premier League fixtures against Southampton on Wednesday. And seriously, these precautions they had to take because they want to seriously stop the coronavirus coming back again. It's going all way high in the city of Manchester, London as well. That's why these restrictions are being put in place to see how they can bring it down, even eliminate COVID-19. Go for our Facebook. Remember, this segment is sponsored by BetPay.
It's time to win very big. Feel the excitement at www.betpay.ng, the sports betting company that rewards you whether you win or lose. Stay on top of the action wherever you are. Get the best odds, 150% deposit bonus. Cash out anytime. Accumulate your bonus. You can deposit and withdraw instantly, 247 and much more. Register now at BetPay to start winning. You can also become a BetPay agent and earn fantastic commissions and bonuses. Visit www.betpay.ng. BetPay. You stay, we pay.
All right, talking about clubs in London, before we take a look at the fixtures and talk about Pogba's issue with Manchester United and Gareth Bale and Tottenham and Real Madrid respectively, let's quickly remind you, Peter Cech came out from retirement and played yesterday. No, for the Chelsea team. He played for the Under-23 and he helped them with his experience to get that victory last night. Now, let's talk about this. The restriction of fans and, the EPL team still talking about allowing fans back into the stadium because they need them, or else really they can't really survive.
Yeah, we know how it was last season when they had to play without fans and all that. So it makes football kind of boring because it looks like training matches and all that. But now that they've started allowing them gradually, 2,000 fans, we know it's small, compared to having your stadium capacity, the stadium filled up to capacity, and having just 2,000. It is like throwing a stone, at the center of a wide pitch. That's how it's going to look like. But now that the second phase, is beginning to bite harder in Europe, I don't know how long it's going to last. But if they can maintain that 2,000, maybe 3,000 at some point, I think that will also be better than having no fans at all, because social distancing and all that, you have enough space. For instance, you have a stadium that can take like 75,000. Inside 75,000, you have 2,000 inside. So you can't tell me one can sit here and one can take like 10 meters or 10 posts. It will not really affect. But I don't know how long this will take, because the more it bites hard, the more they tend to like ask fans to stay at home and watch football matches from home, which is not really nice. And we all have been looking forward to the curve, then having enough fans coming back to the stadium. But it all depends. Our head is wet, and once you are told, okay, you are not going to go out today because of the COVID-19, I think it's better for us to follow the protocols. Stay indoors if you are asked to stay indoors. Then go out and do what you need to do if you are out there. So it's really boring, and it's really affecting the clubs, because they get their revenue from match ticket fees and all that. But now I think it's better for them to just adhere to all the guidelines than taking risk and at the end of the day having issues. We know what happened last year, how many people died, from the COVID-19. Those that survived, the experiences that they shared, it was touching and all that. So I wouldn't want a situation whereby because of the love for football and all that, then people start dying. So for me, I think the health secretary should ensure that everything is okay. If they can go with 2,000, 3,000, to depend on the cities, depending on the clubs, like Manchester United and Everton. Yes, these are places you go to and you see their diehard fans, rooting for their players. But now that they've asked not to have fans there, I think it's better than taking the risk and also having issues. So let's see how long this will take. Maybe within that in May next year, we could see the COVID-19 going down. I just hope that the vaccine will be circulated on time so that people can take the vaccine and go to the stadium and enjoy themselves. But now that it has not been given, I think it's better for us to just follow the due protocols.
Okay, we'll go for another quick break again. We'll be right back.
Dem say no time to check time, but this na time to hammer. You don't try bet pay, dem go reward you whether you win or lose. Remember, say 150% first deposit bonus they wait for you. You fit cash out anytime. You fit deposit and withdraw instanta 24/7, and many ogbonge things full ground o. You sef fit become betpay agent, and you go dey get ogbonge bonuses. Oya sharp go www.betpay.ng. Betpay, you stake, you pay.
All right, so talking about football in the English Premier League, Arsenal technical director Edu, who once played for them, has asked fans to believe in manager Mikel Arteta and sees results on the pitch do not tally with what he is seeing on the training ground. I mean, yes, you get to play very well on the training ground and you don't win games and you've been beaten 4 consecutive times at home. The fans will ask questions, but how do they really get back? Supporting Arsenal right now, they are even way behind teams that one would expect Arsenal to be pursuing, competing with.
Arsenal is closer to the relegation zone than they are to the Champions League and Europa League places. So it's really, really disheartening because we all know that they are much better than this. And as regards them performing better in training than you actually do in during matches, we've got a term for that here in Nigeria, training material. Sometimes there are people who are so good when it comes to training, but you never see them in matches, and that's because the few times they've been selected, they've not performed well. And look, personally, I've encountered some players like that at training. They are the best. And several times I've seen people who have come to watch when I was growing up playing football, watch some guys, and they're always so good at training. You say, this guy is your best player. But during matches, you hardly see them. And they will be asking questions, why is it that? Look, that's how he is. When it comes to match, he's a completely different player. And there are some players like that too. During matches, during training, you don't seem to get the best out of them. But whenever they play a game, whenever you feature them in a match, they are usually spectacular. So it's like that. So for Arsenal, you've got to wonder what is going on. But you feel that one good result and they will just turn the corner because they have got the players, I think, and I believe that eventually they will get it right. But there is really no hiding place for them right now. I think they play, is it Southampton that they are playing tomorrow? After that, I think it will be Everton, and then they play Chelsea and I think Manchester City in the Cup. In the next 12 days or so, they'll be playing about 3-4 matches, and all of these games are not matches that you expect that they will just win easily. So there really is no place to hide at the moment. If it were you will not be playing Europa League until February. If it were when they were still in the group stage, you expect, okay, they'll play one club in the Europa League, win, and then kind of take their minds off what has happened. But right now it's going to be the Premier League. It's just English football that they will play the next couple of weeks, and we know how difficult it could be. Only ordinarily, if that were a European night, you expect that Arsenal will be thrashing the team that they put in front of them. But this is Burnley in the English Premier League. It is not Dundalk in the Europa League. So things are going to be different. And that's the way it is with all teams. Liverpool didn't win their game. Chelsea also lost. Manchester United, Manchester City played a draw, and even though it was a draw, and even though they were playing against themselves and both of them couldn't possibly win, it's just impossible. It's either they both draw or one team will win, one team would lose. But we did not see the best of the two sides in that game. Manchester United, I thought, played better in that loss to Leipzig than they did in that draw against Manchester City. Manchester City also played better in the Champions League than in that match against Manchester United. So that is it. That is the complexity of the English Premier League. So you've got to understand that these things are different. I've seen matches, English Premier League side play in Europe, and they are playing so well that the commentators will be making snide comments like, Wigan, when Wigan was in the Premier League, that Wigan will give this team, that's maybe Manchester United, will give them a stiffer challenge over the weekend than what they are having on this night. And it is true. When they play the next game, you will see how things are going to be different. So for Arsenal, really, I feel for them, but I think they are good enough to turn things around. However, I'm looking at the next couple of games and I'm thinking, is this is not the kind of games that you will have wanted if you are an Arsenal fans, and coming up just back to back, it's going to be a bit difficult. But if they can weather the storm, if they come out of the 4 games, maybe having 2 wins and 2 draws, well, it would be fantastic for them, and that could now spur them on to feel, okay, we can go on to do great stuff. But if they lose 3 of those games, I believe that Mikel Arteta will have left before January.
Okay, we'll take our final message from our sponsors now, and we'll take a look at the fixtures when we come back.
Them say no time to check time, but this is not time to hammer. You don't try bet pay, they go reward you whether you win or lose. Remember, say 150% first deposit bonus, they wait for you. You fit cash out anytime. You fit deposit and withdraw instant 24/7, and many Ogmo get things full grand though. Yourself fit become bet pay agent, and you go they get Ogmo get bonuses. Oh yeah, sharp go www.betpay.ng. Bet pay, you stake, we pay.
Make I tell you a story where they sweet me for body. It they save me time. It ain't near my house, yeah. If you want deposit money, withdraw money, or open account, yeah. Even if your bank is far, no need to they waste your time, yeah. Go use that go back. Express money, now you corner bank. Express money, it ain't near your house. Express money, go for everywhere. You want to open account, withdraw, send money, pay your bills. Use EcoBank Express Point within near you.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Alright, thank you so much for staying with us on the show this lovely Tuesday morning. Now, let's talk about Emilio Laola, the agent of Paul Pogba and all the fantastic footballers, including Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, he said prior to their game against Leipzig, which I thought came at a very wrong time, that Pogba is not happy at Manchester United, that they should let him go. Now they went, Pogba even scored a second goal, which was a consolation after they gone down 3 and they couldn't, and now they are Europa League, we know that already. Now he came before then, also got a goal for them, brilliant goal against Western United that led to them winning 3-1, and played a game at the Manchester Derby. One can say Papa House, well, the 2 teams were poor on the pitch on that particular day. But he's again coming up and saying that it is unlikely Pogba will leave Manchester United, but insists that he will leave. Yes, contrary to what he has said, Pogba posted and said he's 1000% committed to Manchester United. That people talk, but they don't really know what is going on inside there and stuff like that. But again, I'm beginning to think that when they play Pogba, Laola gets to make more money, and he's calm, and nobody's saying anything. He gets all the endorsement for Pogba. When Pogba is struggling with form and he's sitting on the bench, he's not always happy because he doesn't get to make more money, and he comes up with this drama in the media without even communicating with the football club or the coach himself to say, why are you not playing my player? What is going on? Again, with such an agent, should football club still go ahead doing businesses with him? Because he goes out there and destabilize players and football clubs. Remember what he had with Juve and Inter at some point? They almost suspended his license.
Yeah, he had issues, and to me, I think it could have been better if clubs allow players to deal with their agents directly instead of involving clubs and agents together. But as an agent or a representative of any player, you tend to if your player is good, all you need to do is to promote your player. If he's good, you want to always talk about your player and see how you can get him a good job. If he's playing fine, things will be going well. But if he's not playing, I think it's right for the agent to also discuss with the player to know why the player is having a dip in form and all that. But to me, Pogba hasn't really lived up to expectation. The hype surrounding his coming back to United from Juventus in its £9 million deal. He has never lived up to that expectation. I don't know if it's because of the kind of players that he's playing with, or maybe he wants his star-studded squad for him to do very well, but I don't know. But as an agent, you want to see your player being played week in, week out. We cannot expect the agent of Bruno Fernandes to come out right now and start talking. No, he will just relax and be taking care of other things because his client is doing well, on the pitch, and is making headlines, every day. But then I think for Pogba, when big players hardly leave, in January, but in the summer, for Mino Raiola to have come out to say that Pogba will be leaving, and we know Pogba has previously stated how he loves Real Madrid and wants to play for Madrid and all that and other big teams. But the way things are going right now, except United gets to buy big players that could help Pogba to get to win titles and bring out the best in him. But right now, I was expecting that Pogba would be the man that other players will be looking up to and say, okay, with this guy we can go on to do great stuff. Look at Lionel Messi today, look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Even if you're not doing well, once those guys are with you on the pitch, they tend to bring out the best in you, and you tend to have that confidence to say, wow, since I have one of the best players in the world, with me on the pitch, tends to do something. But for me, I don't know what is wrong with Pogba, but I think it's unlikely that he may leave in January, because we hardly have players living in January. But in the summer, I think Pogba might be leaving for another club in May at the end of the season. But it all depends on how things turn out. If he continues to dish out fantastic performances, then they could sit down and see how they can renew contract. But if things are not going on well, I don't think Mino Raiola will still allow Pogba to stay, except Pogba wants to do it with Raiola, because it's also allowed. You can sack your agent and get another agent. If you think the agent is not
presenting you well,
presenting you well, you can sack him and get another one. But if you think, okay, things are okay, and he's talking your favor and all that, then you can leave him and move on. I think it is better for Man U to move on without Pogba than to rely on Pogba, because except to bring big stars to assist him right now, I don't see Pogba coming out, and he's supposed to be the shining light for Man United, but I don't know what is wrong.
I think we're being too hard on Paul Pogba. He's not the only player at Manchester United. He's not the one to magically transform Manchester United. He's doing his best. Maybe his best is not good enough. Maybe he could perhaps do more, but I think the attention on Paul Pogba is just too much. Maybe because he too likes the flashy lifestyle. He's had his public spats with managers in the past, including Jose Mourinho. So maybe these are the time. And remember the price tag at the time he joined Manchester United, it was for a world record, £89 million. So maybe some of these things have a way of coming back. But for his agent, look, the guy is doing what he's supposed to do. You're supposed to promote your player, you're supposed to talk about your player positively, attract attention to him. Now, almost every club in the world is talking about Paul Pogba. They are aware of Paul Pogba and his situation at Manchester United. Will he stay? Will he leave? And all that. It helps to raise the value of Paul Pogba. And when he signs a big contract, Mino Raiola is going to get some good money. So that is the trick. It is a game, and Raiola is playing it very well. He's one of the biggest, apart from Mendes, who manages some of the biggest players in the world. How many other agents out there can you say are bigger than Raiola? He is at the very top of the business, so he knows exactly what he's doing. Yes,
so it's a game. So it's a game.
It's a game
because on the eve of the most important game that United will play this season to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
He came out and said some stuff.
Yeah,
so
the guy isn't happy. He wants to leave, and although he believes that he will be leaving, he's not happy. And look, we have seen agents who have come out to say their players have been treated like slaves. Don't forget that we had that. What was said about Alexis Sanchez when he was at Manchester United. Yeah, so agents will have a way of saying some of these things just to raise the value of their player, so that they will also make good money. Of course, that's it is business. Wow. And we're talking now about Paul Pogba could be living on a free transfer at the end of the season. It's because of the Bosman ruling. And Bosman ruling is 25 years old today. It happened in 1995 when the Belgian player Jean-Marc Bosman won a landmark ruling, which meant that a player could be living for free at the end of his contract. I think he was playing at Standard Liège at that time when that incident happened. He was supposed to join a French club, but Standard Liège insisted that they've got to pay them they valued him at about £800,000 at that time, $800,000, and they wanted the club that was coming for him to pay the full amount, but he felt that no, I've already played for a long time, and I don't have, my contract does not go beyond this season, so you should let me go for free at the end of my contract. But they did not agree, and they slashed his salary by about 78%, and they were now paying him 500 euros per week. So he didn't like that, went to court, and then got the landmark ruling, which so many footballers have now used to leave a tricky situation. In the past, before this ruling, before what is now known as the Bosman ruling, you could not leave like that. If your club does not want to sell you, they will just renew your contract whether you like it or not, and you will stay. But after that, some players have taken advantage, which is why now you have the players being in a very powerful position, especially when their contract is coming to an end. And the way UEFA has even done it now, once you enter the last 6 months of your contract, you can start negotiating. But before that, once you talk to any club, you'll be breaching your contract. And if a club does that, the parent club could say they are tapping our players, and it's a very serious offense. So one player that took advantage of the Bosman ruling was, of course, they call him Judas right now at White Hart Lane, Sol Campbell. Remember in 2001, he left them and joined the worst possible club for Tottenham Hotspur. That was Arsenal. So they wanted him. They wanted Sol Campbell to stay. They were even willing to make him the highest paid player in the Premier League, but he rejected it, ran down his contract because of the Bosman ruling, and he joined Arsenal. In the past, a player from Tottenham will not have been able to do that, because except if the club wanted to allow him leave, but otherwise, so long as you are still playing, they will just, okay, we are going to renew your contract now, this is what we will pay you, and that's it. You can't say, but my contract is ending, I want to leave. You could not, except the club was willing to release you. But with the Bosman ruling, it now gave the power to the player to say, yeah, this is the number of years I have signed. I'm signing a 4-year contract, and once I have done 3 years and 6 months, I can start negotiating with another club. I may not agree and still come to you and renew, but once it is 6 months to the expiration of my current contract, I have the right to talk to another club. So the Bosman ruling has really helped. Ruud Gullit, I think he was one of the first to take advantage of the Bosman ruling. He left Sampdoria to join Chelsea in 1995. And before the Bosman ruling, clubs in England hardly signed players like Ruud Gullit, who was World Footballer of the Year 1987, was one of the most sought after players, even though he was at the twilight of his career in 1995, but he was still a high profile player. So he was able to run down his contract at Sampdoria and then joined Chelsea on the free. Zlatan Ibrahimovic also used the Bosman ruling to join Manchester United from Paris Saint-Germain in 2016, and so many other players have taken advantage of that John Mark Bosman. But Bosman himself, didn't have a particularly spectacular career. And after that Bosman ruling, he didn't really play much football. He just eventually ended his career. Not the player that you always remember, but at least today his name he has become every name is a noun, but he has become like a metaphor. It's something that people talk about. I want a Bosman. I'm living on a Bosman. You're wondering who is Bosman. But John Mark Bosman was actually a player, and it was the ruling, the law, which now says, okay, players have the power to run down their contract, and after that the current contract expires, they are free to join another club. So that's why we have this. So if Paul Pogba leaves Manchester United at the end of the season, he will be living on a Bosman.
All right, the game's for tonight, starting by 7 p.m. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be looking to bounce back from weekend performance, but this time bounce back against a team that also wanted to bounce back as well. Right at the morning, against Chelsea, Wolverhampton Wanderers and Chelsea Training Tackles is going to be a great game.
Yeah, a 2-0 win for Chelsea will take them to the top. We Wolverhampton Wanderers allowed that to happen, but from what we've seen of Chelsea before they lost to Everton 1-0, Chelsea that is current side, that's what you know. They know how to concede until many game, but he has also conceded few goals. But with the kind of Chelsea squad we have now, up front, if they can score goals and also be clean at the back, defensively, I'm sure they will take a 2 or 3-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's possible they could go to the top tonight. It's also possible that they get a point and they go to fourth spot and push Southampton down.
The other game will be by 9 p.m. later today. Man City will be looking forward to play better than they did last time in the Manchester derby against West Bromwich Albion. Albion will be missing the services of Semi Ajayi, who's at injury right now. I wish them all the best at the Etihad Stadium. Okay, we'll leave England and go to La Liga Santander. There's a game today from 10 p.m. Real Madrid against Athletic Bilbao. They played against Atletico Madrid and they won. They're playing against another Athletic. Hopefully they win this time. And in the German Bundesliga, Eintracht Frankfurt will be home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Hertha Berlin will be home against Mainz 05. Stuttgart will play host to Union Berlin, while Werder Bremen will play host to Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund hopefully can get back after what happened to them at the weekend and led to them sacking their manager. In Italian Serie A, Udinese home to play host to Crotone, while Benevento will play at home to Lazio. Those are the games from the major leagues we are expecting. Before we take a look at your messages this lovely Tuesday morning, let's tell you this is coming from Thomas Tuchel and of course Paris Saint-Germain. They said that the assessment of the Akeem forward, talking about Neymar, we spoke about his injury yesterday, has been reassuring. They said that Neymar will be further examined in the next 48 hours, starting from today to tomorrow. And of course, we know what happened. He was seen screaming in agony and clutching his ankle and afterwards, and he was stretched out of the pitch. Hopefully, Neymar will be fit enough to play that game. We know the game I'm talking about after the draws yesterday, the UEFA Champions League game between them and FC Barcelona. The first game will be at the Camp Nou, while the return leg will be at the Parc des Princes. So, all the best to Neymar and Paris Saint-Germain in getting Neymar fit again to play for them. All right, we'll take a pause from us now. Let's hear you guys out via the SMS platform.
This one says, good day, guys. This is Granny Shaka texting from IQB Hill. Okay, over here. Arteta Aubameyang should get out of Arsenal, but thank God I am on loan to PSG. But these two guys must go. Greetings to the house. I think Arteta has played his last match as Arsenal coach. As for Europa League, I see Arsenal going all the way to the semis. Big congratulations to AJ with all that is happening in Nigeria. Our sportmen have a way of making us happy. Chris from Sapamba, not the footballers, so they've not been making us happy. Those are the messages that we have.
Wow. Okay. We'll see if we can dive.
There was Monday Night Raw last night, so let's just quickly rush through some of the results that we had. So many matches, but remember that they are building up to TLC, that's the Black franchise, coming up this Sunday. Well, we had what they called, it was a nightmare before the TLC. The final road on the TLC, they kick off with a special edition of the Death Sheet, in which the Miz introduced the audience to the nightmare before TLC. So he read out a story out of a book which featured an appearance by AJ Styles and Omos. That we'll talk about Omos some other time. That is his huge Nigerian bodyguard, and John Morrison dressed as Braveheart, and we went on saying a couple of things, but eventually Sheamus interrupted the community performance theater, and after the exchange trash talk, then they now said that the next match was going to be Sheamus versus AJ Styles. So it was AJ Styles that won this encounter, and after the match, AJ Styles and Omos, they tied Sheamus' feet to the ropes and then attacked him with a steel chair. Then we had the New Day and Jeff Hardy taking on the Hot Business. So it was the Hot Business that defeated the New Day and Jeff Hardy. And Lana took on Nia Jax. Nia won this encounter, but after the match, the Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, they attacked her, beat her down before Asuka came to make the save. And this now ensured that she can participate at TLC. Then there was this segment with Elias, who introduced his new bodyguard and all that. And we also had 24/7 champion R-Truth interrupting, and there was just different segments there. So we also had a handicap match. Keith Lee took on John Morrison and The Miz. It was John Morrison and The Miz who won this encounter. And Firefly Funhouse, they invaded the WWE Thunderdome. Bray Wyatt came with all of his people, his characters, Hawkins the Pig, Rambling Rabbit, and Messi the Buzzard. And then Ricochet took on Miz, and it was the Miz who defeated Ricochet in this encounter. Then we had another encounter, Dana Brooke versus Shayna Baszler, and it was this fight went to a no contest because Baszler opponent and was beaten down. Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose came to make the save. Then she attacked Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and Asuka also got involved. So this fight eventually was a no contest. Then there was this incident between the Fiend and Randy Orton. They are also meeting at TLC. Then
No.
Okay. Finally, Matt Riddle took on MVP. It was Riddle who won this encounter.
All right, guys, we'll probably look into the ones we're going to give to you later in the evening. But
that's all.
Okay, all right. This we have the curtains on the show this morning. But before we go, let's take our final episode on the show this morning.
We had experience in the squad. We know this year looks like no other because of COVID and what it might do to selection and isolation through the year. So it was a very easy decision. Peter Cech still does his day job, but he's there if we need him. He is very fit. He's still relatively young. He probably could have carried on playing. Chelsea manager Frank Lampard reacting to Peter Cech's appearance with the under-23s in their 3-2 victory over Tottenham last night. And that's the final whistle on the show this morning.
Alright, that's the show. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.
This thing we talk about what's more practical and comfortable in the business of elevator, escalator, building automation. Then let's talk about Enabritech Limited for your home and office, companies and industries. When you think of professionals in providing and installing